Okay, everybody, so let's make some Halloween candy and wait till you see what I'm going to put the Halloween candy in. What you're going to do is you'll get your air dry clay, any air dry clay you want. I like the Crayola and it's budget friendly. I'm going to do a couple of these pumpkin, and I got the large. They come in 2 sizes, I believe, and I got the large one. You take your clay and you're going to want to roll it in a ball and kind of smooth it the best you can. And then you're going to put it in and make sure you get in to where you get that clay down into the grooves of the face, because you don't want to miss anything on that cute little face, right? Okay, you can see, and this will pop out just fine once it's dry, but I just want to really get down in there. Trying to avoid any kind of cracking. Get this clay back into the mold. Bella's eating. Can you hear her? You'll hear it in a minute. I'm going to do a couple more. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do plaster of Paris or clay, because you can use either. The plaster of Paris is going to be heavier. Okay, now see where that's out of the, see where this is out of the mold? I'm just going to squish it back with my finger to get it inside the mold. And you can see what you're doing, so it makes it really easy. Okay, and then I'm going to put my popsicle stick just like that. And then I'll take a little bit more clay and just put it over the top. You can always take a little bit more water and just smooth that out if you want. But this is, oh my gosh, I'm loving this one. So what you'll do is, like I showed you, is you'll get your air dry clay or your plaster of Paris, your mold, or you could do these on your own if you're good at, you know, making stuff on your own, and make like a chocolate bar. But in our bag, in our treat bag, which we're going to make together as well, we're going to have a chocolate bar. And let's see how these molds turned out. Very nice. And I just have to take the little bit that was around the mold and take that off. It's no big deal. And we're going to paint these. And let's look and see how our candy corn turned out. Adorable. Very cute. Okay, so now we know our molds all came out good. Let's go ahead and get our paint ready. Okay, now what I did is I took a piece of sandpaper, and if there was just a little edge that had a little bit of extra clay, I just sanded it ever so lightly, like this little piece here. And this is very fine sandpaper. I don't know the number on it, but it's just very fine. Okay, so now we'll get our paints together and we'll get our candies ready for our treat. Okay, so let's get started with the candy corn first. And I think, let's just use this one. Alright, so we're going to do this part first. I have my little tray palette. And I know this isn't as bright of a yellow as what a real candy corn is, and that's okay with me. Done. Actually, you know what I might do is I might antique these anyway and not leave them just because the treat bag in which these are going in is more of a retro. So the more I'm thinking about it on camera here, the more I think, yes, in fact, I will antique it with some antiquing. So it's not going to matter that it's not a real bright yellow. Okay, so now let's go on drawing. We'll do the chocolate bar, and I'm going to use the burnt umber for that. Burnt umber probably is the closest if you want a real looking chocolate to what you could get, unless like you wanted it to be more like a milk chocolate or something. Ooh, it's starting to look good enough to eat. My son was teasing me the other night. He was talking to me and he goes, "Mom, really?" He goes, "You're making these." He goes, "Can you imagine someone coming over, taking a bite without you knowing and breaking a tooth? Then you have a dentist bill?" I go, "Yeah, you're cute." He goes, "You make all these and they look so good." He goes, "And you can't even eat them." I said, "I know. And your point being?" We just started laughing. I will stop and wash my hands because I don't want any of this brown getting on other things that I'm painting. And once this dries, I'll do the back of it as well. While we're at it, because this is the back of a chocolate lollipop, pumpkin lollipop. Thing is, when you're using real chocolate and you're using these molds, it takes a lot of chocolate. You know those bags? Those bags don't go far when you're making candy. And the molds that I have here, these are pretty big molds. So I'm kind of glad that I'm just doing faux. Although, on the ones where I didn't put the clay in, I might do a couple. I don't know. Alright, got that one done. And then I'll be back. I'm going to wash my hands and then we'll start on the candy corn again. Okay, got washed up. Got another, got clean water. I'm always emptying my cup when I'm doing any kind of painting. I don't want that dirty water in there any more than I have to. Okay, now we'll put the orange. I think I'm going to leave that little triangle. See how the mold is? I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm not going to do any color. Candy corn is so happy, isn't it? Isn't that weird? I look at things sometimes and I don't know. I'm weird. Anyway, there's the orange on. Okay, I'll be back once I get this done. I'm going to go ahead and do this and paint the tips of these candy corn white, and then I'll come back and we'll do the pumpkin. Okay, I want to show you what I've done so far. I went ahead and painted the face, and I did the mouth and eyes, nose black, and then the orange, and then I'm going to do this part green, and then the back is like a chocolate. That's what it's supposed to be, a chocolate sucker. And I'm getting done with this. I'll do that with you guys. And then here's the candy corn. I did not do the white yet. I think I'm going to go one more coat. So I'll do a little bit. I don't know if I'll do all the line work with you guys, only because it's just taking up too much time on my SD card, and I'm sure that you know how to paint things. If I go into the burnt umber a little bit on the back side, because you can cover, it's easier to cover a light than it is a dark. So that's why if I get it into the chocolate a little bit, I'll just go over it with the burnt umber. Alright, I'm going to finish up with a liner brush going all around here so we get the same effect as here, and then I'll be back. Okay, while I have these little guys drying before I antique them, I'm going to go ahead and take my matte, no it's not matte, I'm sorry, it's satin. I can't think. Sealer, Davida sealer. And just go over this. And that helps the paint from not chipping. Okay. So I'm just going to pour some on it actually. I think you guys are really going to like what I do with these candies that I'm making. Really cute for Halloween. And again, I'm doing it early enough to where if you like it, you can get the stuff and make them. Because we're still in September. Second week, so you've got time. Alright, I'm going to let that dry. And once I antique these, I'm going to do the same thing with this sealer. Got to make sure it's dry. The reason being, if at all this is even a little bit wet, when you start to antique it, it's going to smear. So that's why I got to make sure that there's no wet spot anywhere. Again, the reason I'm antiquing these, it all depends on what you're using them for. You might be using them in something that's very, I don't know, like whimsical or maybe for a little kids, let's just say a little kid's party, or you want to decorate for a child's whatever. You might want to leave it this way, but since I'm doing more of a retro type decor with my Halloween, I want it to look older, so that's why I'm antiquing these. To make them look a little more vintage, if you will. So I'm just going to use the espresso antiquing medium. I'll start with the candy corn first. Let me get my brush cleaned. Antiquing medium, you want to get it off as soon as possible if you don't want it to get really, really dark. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in segments of this instead of just doing the whole thing. I'm going to kind of play by ear and we'll see which way's better. Okay, see that? You want to wipe it off right away. Especially because this is so porous, it would take it in. Alright, I want you to look at the bottom and look at the top. Do you see the difference in them? And this is exactly what I was going for. Because again, when you see this put together and you see what I'm putting it in, you're going to understand it's going to make more sense probably. So this is showing me basically I could do the whole thing. I just need to make sure to get it off rather quickly. Okay, so now let's look at this one compared to this one. This looks more retro. Okay. But you want to make sure to get all of it. You don't want that, the brighter color, if you're antiquing it. You know what I mean? You want it all to be done. I personally like things antiqued, but that's just me. And again, it depends on what you're making it for, where you're putting it. I'm going to take off a little bit of this on the top of the white. So I just put the paper towel in a little bit of water. All right. Again, I just put my paper towel in a little bit of water because I don't want it really dark, but I do want it to have the look of being old. Okay, so let's look at these two together and you see the difference. And of course I don't have to do the chocolate bar because you're not going to see anything, you know? Okay. All right. So that is your Halloween faux candy, just chocolate molds and air dry clay. Cute. And your candy bar. And the next DIY that we'll be doing is we're going to be putting these into the container for our last Halloween DIY together. Okay, everyone. We are about to do our last Halloween DIY. This one was inspired from the pink tree. As you all know, if you follow me, she is my mentor. And what we're going to do is take a brown paper bag, a lunch bag, and I printed this like we did, if you follow me, like we did our vintage little people for the 4th of July and for Halloween. I'm going to cut this and glue it onto another paper bag to bring it down further, but we are going to chock this full of goodies, and this will be a decorative piece for the house. So here I need to, okay, so what I did, again, if you follow me, and if you haven't and you're here for the first time, welcome. I hope you will join my family on YouTube. Got a great bunch of people. I also printed out some old candy boxes and I scored them, and I printed these on photo paper, matte photo paper. So we're going to put those together. I also made suckers that are going to go in this bag. Remember I told you I had something to put in? Also a chocolate bar. And a couple more goodies as we go along. So stick around and we are going to start filling this bag for Halloween. Okay, so what I did is like I said, I scored this little box that I printed out. And I used to love jujubes, and that's why I picked this one in particular, and the Sugar Daddy. This was just a piece that, now this one I did not print on photo paper. I did this on printer paper so I could fold it easier. And I put it on a stick, a lollipop stick. Now I'm not sure what I'm doing with this part yet, that's why I don't know if I'm going to cut that off or not. But I went ahead and cut in to the corners of this so I could get it to fold. So I'm going to take my tape this one, because the rest of it is just like if you had a box of candy and you were just closing the lid. And if you don't have lollipop sticks, you can use skewers, which I think that's what I'm going to use next. Okay, I'm going to get these boxes done. Once these are done and I get everything together, we'll start putting everything in. Okay, everyone, here we are, and we are going to put all of our goodies in our trick-or-treat bag. What I did is I took a regular brown lunch bag, printed off just like we did all of our other little vintage people, and this is from an actual, and you know what, and I do remember this as a kid, what the bag looked like, only it was white, and I did it on brown to make it look more vintage. And what I'm going to put in it is a piece of floral foam, because this is what's going to hold all of my goodies. Alright, so what we're going to start, and we're just going to wing this together. I'm just going to start putting stuff in. Let's go over the things too that I'm going to use. Everything, almost everything I made. So here's the cupcakes that I made last year, our Halloween cupcakes. Okay? And then these boxes I got off of the internet. And I used to love jujubes when I was little. Now I'd pull every crown in my head out, but yeah, I can still reminisce, right? Also, the Sugar Daddies. And I just printed out this. Now, what you could do if, you know, I haven't seen Sugar Daddy pops around, or maybe I'm just not looking, but you could keep just a wrapper. But I went ahead and made it like it was one of the Sugar Daddies that you get on the stick. Also, here is our chocolate bar that we made, remember? And I just have these taped on to a bamboo skewer that you use when you barbecue. And here are the Halloween cake pops that we made. And also our candy apples. So that is what we are going to put into this vintage Halloween bag. And these are our suckers that we made out of the air dry clay. So all of this is going to be very vintage. Okay, now it's just a matter of how you want to put the stuff in and what you want to put in it. I think I'm going to put the mid-size candy apple. I think. Yeah, it's too big. I'll use the mid-size, I believe. But I'm going to be messing with this because I don't know exactly how. Now do you see where the floral foam comes in? And I'll back up so you can see everything. Okay. Want to get this stuff kind of anchored in. Okay, what I did is I added a little bit more of the styrofoam to fill up the bag, and it'll be easier to work. So now we're just sticking our goodies in, and I don't mind obviously that the sucker stick is showing because it's candy. So now as far as the bamboo, That's just your preference. I'm going to put the candy apple, just lay that. I might lay that in at the end. Okay. And like I said, it's just a matter of your preference, how you want it to look, how you want it to be as far as, you know, how far down you want things, if you want them staggered as far as height, which I do. I like things when they're different heights. I don't care what it is. That's just the way I like things. Okay. Well, Bella's thirsty. My sugar daddy. I'm going to put that in there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this off camera, and then I'll bring you back when I'm done. All right, our trick-or-treat bag is completely full. And let's start with the bag itself. Again, it is just a regular lunch bag, and then I took another lunch bag and I printed out this vintage trick-or-treat sign. Actually, it was a bag back in the day, just like all of our other little cute cutouts that we did, like this guy here. So here's our bag, and then I put in floral foam so I could stick all these lollipop sticks and what I use with bamboo skewers to add to the things that I printed out. So here's our jujubes that I printed out. That's in the bag. And then here is one of our candy apples that we made for Halloween. And then here, the cupcakes I made last year, along with the lollipops that we just did. Here's our cake pops. Another box. Here's our chocolate bar back there with our sugar daddy lollipop, our pumpkin lollipops, and our candy corn lollipops with another cake pop. What a cute centerpiece, or just a piece of decor for your hutch, your table, kitchen, whatever you want it for. I love this DIY. And again, showing you what you can do with food, faux goodies, faux bakery goods, faux candy made out of actual candy molds. That's what these pumpkins and the candy corn were made out of. Very inexpensive, but an adorable, and you don't see these every day when you go into the store. Guys, I just want to thank you so much for staying with me for all the different Halloween DIYs that I made this year. Can't wait to do it again next year. Until our next DIY get together, whatever we choose to do, remember, the world's a better place because you're in it. Don't ever, ever forget that. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.